Hey guys, it's Courtney King with King Realty. Better late than never. So sorry, I'm like about an hour and 15 minutes late on this weekly chat. Got some exciting stuff going on over here, including adding yet another agent to our team who I was meeting with, and that's why I'm late. So let's get right into it. We're talking about insurance. So homeowners insurance for those people that have rental properties. Usually that's called a landlord's insurance policy. And the way that that type of policy is different than a normal homeowner insurance policy is that with homeowners insurance, you're insuring the contents and the structure. With a landlord's insurance policy, you're only insuring the structure. And so oftentimes when people have rental properties or they have a home that they used to live in that they decide to rent out, they change it over to a landlord policy. The reason why you don't necessarily want to insure the content and the structure on a regular homeowner's insurance policy on a rental property is there's a lot of fine print on what's covered, but we, as a management company, require our tenants to have renter's insurance. The renter's insurance is the part that protects their contents. So if they're already paying for that, you as the landlord should only be insuring the structure. And there are different things in a standard Texas Association of Realtors lease that we use that has more provisions on that. And we'll get to that probably in another video. But there's one thing. So you're insuring the structure, right? And so your insurance premium is going to be based on the amount of insurance that you have. Lenders have different requirements for insurance. So if you own a property that's mortgaged, you want to check with your lender on the minimum required insurance. If you own the house outright, there are some different calculations that you can use to see how much coverage you need on that property. And you can work with an insurance person on those specifics. But the one thing that I think is important for investors to know is that a lot of landlords' policies don't automatically include liability insurance. And the reason why you would want to have liability insurance is because, let's say, God forbid, knock on wood, let's say you have a tenant at a property and they slip and fall. They could potentially go after you or go after your insurance company. And so having the liability policy basically is more protection for you as the landlord. Basically, any claims that a tenant may have against a landlord of negligence, either not taking care of the property or doing something improper that would cause somebody injury, having a liability policy covers you. So on my rental properties, I have a liability umbrella in my policy to protect me and protect the homes that we own in other entities that we own them. It's really inexpensive. I think it was an added charge of maybe $50 for a year on a property that I had in Houston previously. So at a minimum, you want to get at least $100,000 worth of liability insurance. Now, I'm not an insurance broker. I'm not an attorney. I'm not anything like that. But from my experience, I'm going to recommend that the minimum insurance is $100,000, and that's for liability only. We're not talking about your homeowner's insurance, but the liability portion of it. If you have a home with a pool, you probably want at least $300,000 worth of liability insurance because having pools and renting them out is a little bit dangerous, but it doesn't have to be a scary thing as long as you have the different protections at the property as well as proper coverage for the insurance. This was a brief snippet of what we're doing, and I've had somebody coming in to join me.
Are we late?
Yeah. Well, no. This is Facebook Live. We're actually talking about homeowners insurance and how if you're a landlord,
okay,
you want to have a landlord's policy and you want to have the liability coverage.
Liability coverage.
Yeah, which a lot of people sleep on.
Okay.
Like they don't necessarily have the liability coverage. So I was just kind of giving them some tips on that, why they would need that. I'm going to turn that.
Oh, and I get to chime in?
Yeah, since you just walked in.
Sure. One of the things as far as the insurance goes is, And what makes this have to be a topic is because we people are cheap. And we don't want to spend for the higher insurance until something happens. And then we say we should have spent on the higher insurance. So all that is saying is that you're not buying the property right.
Okay.
You got to buy it at the right price so you can pay the best insurance and still make money. See what I mean?
Yeah.
If this is a slow and steady growth, so definitely protect yourself.
When I was telling them too, I added liability coverage on one of the Houston properties, and it was like extra $50 a year, and that's with State Farm.
Sure.
So, you know, it's people assume that it's a very expensive thing, and I don't, you know, without getting the information from your insurance provider, it's like, why assume? Because it's not that expensive, and it could protect you and save you a lot of money over time.
Yeah, and I think fear gets promoted over wisdom.
Yeah.
It just does. And what I mean by that is fear of not having enough money makes them hold on to it, even though we call it currency. The flow is what you want to do. Let it go and let it flow because it returns to you.
Exactly. So thanks for chiming in, Dad.
Hey, I'm out.
I appreciate you.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. All right, guys. I'll see you next week, and we'll promise not to be late next time. Have a good day.